Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back here to Light to the Nations. It's a new Shabbat, it's a new book, it's a new portion. Today, as we promised, we are going to begin with a cycle in the book of Jeremiah, YaHuWaH. And we really hope in YaHuWaH that this is going to be a new blessing to all of us by studying, reading this book, especially in the times we are living. And we're reading the portion we are going to have today last week.
Yeah.
And I think it's so relevant to the timings because of what is written even in the chapter 1 that we are going to just study in a few minutes. But we want to welcome all of you, and we appreciate that you are with us today as every Shabbat. We were somehow taking a look in the chat. We are so sorry for the news of your family, Shannon. We'll be praying for you, for your family, and also seeing how some of you are facing some cold weather, while here we are facing warm weather.
Yeah.
So we will be praying for you as well to be protected under the hand of YaHuWaH. And also that he's going to be with us once again with his Ruach guiding us in this new adventure we are going to have in the book of Jeremiah, and asking him to guide us and to talk to us and to teach us what he wants to show us in this time. We are going to study today the chapter 1 and the chapter 2. Chapter 2 is a long one, so we will try to see what the Ruach is bringing to us in these lines. We have not portioned the entire book yet. Most probably we are going to do it with time. But so be attentive. We will let you know as soon as we have the rest of the portions. But in the meantime, we are going to enjoy chapter 1 and chapter 2.
Yeah.
And I think it's very relevant, right?
Yes. Yes. And Yirmiyahu, the meaning of the name is whom YaHuWaH has appointed. So we're going to see that he has appointments for everybody. So
yes,
different ones.
As we shared this chart of the kings of Israel and Yehuda a long time ago, you know, in that chart we saw that Yirmiyahu, and actually it is written in the first chapter, but I'm going to go ahead. He was doing his service to YaHuWaH during the time of many kings of Yehuda. Since the time of Yoshiyahu, YaHuWahaz, YaHuYakim, YaHuYahim, and Sikiyahu. So it was a long period of time. You were calculating this.
Around 40 years and 6 months.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was finished when they were exiled to Babylon. So
yeah, everybody know Yirmiyahu was the crying prophet.
Yeah, because
but how not to cry with everything that was going on?
Yeah, he was insisting, calling the people back to YaHuWaH. And it was maybe you're saying he's the crying prophet, but maybe it was just transferring the crying of Abba, because it was the message of our Father. He was asking Yirmiyahu to say all those words, and all those words are coming from Abba's mouth. So if we're thinking that he was a prophet crying, we have to picture that it was Abba crying for his people.
Absolutely. I think it's a beautiful picture of the heart of YaHuWaH. So we will dig in. Let's see what the Ruach is bringing to our hearts, and we will keep everybody in prayers. I have some word that I received for me, but and I would like to share with you at the end, because I think somehow is also relevant to the times. And it's somehow connected to the portion, most probably. So I think we should go in. Let me share with you the song I have prepared for you today, and then we'll go immediately to today's portion. So here we go.
ספק שטפוני, החזק בי שלא אטבע, מילים משתיקות עשה, מילים מביאות תקווה, דבר אל ליבי ישוע, אתה בקרבי שלווה. צל כנפך, מקלט לנפשי לך, אמחה דמעותיי בך, מילים מרפאות הצעה, מילים של חמלה ברחוב, דבר אל ליבי ישוע, בקרבתך ללמוד לציית לך, באהבתך לשמוח ולחסד להיכנע, דבר אל ליבי ישוע, למדני ברוח קולך, באהבתך לשמוח ולחסד להיכנע, דבר אל ליבי ישוע, למדני ברוח קולך.
It's a beautiful song.
Mm.
Let's pray. YaHuWaH Elohim, we want to lift up our voices to you in this moment. First of all, to acknowledge that you are the only true Elohim, and to thank you for everything you do for us. The only thing we can have in our hearts is just gratitude. Because, first of all, you are the one giving us life one more day. Because life belongs to you. Our lives belongs to you. We belong to you, YaHuWaH. And to thank you for everything you do for us. The only thing we can have in our hearts is just gratitude. Because, first of all, you are the one giving us life one more day. Because life belongs to you. Our lives belongs to you. We belong to you. YaHuWaH. And to thank you for everything you do for us. The only thing we can have in our hearts is just gratitude. Because life belongs to you. Our lives belongs to you. We belong to you. YaHuWaH. because once again you are giving us the opportunity to enjoy a Shabbat, a day you have set apart since the beginning of this world, since you created everything, a day we can disconnect from our daily routines, a day we can set apart for you, a day you have established as a sign between you and your people Israel, a day we can enjoy your presence and seek your face, a day we can renew our strength, our emunah, our faith. And here we are, YaHuWaH, as every week, having the opportunity, YaHuWaH, to study your word, to know you better. There's so much gratitude in our hearts because you are giving us the ways to connect with your children in different places in the world, whose heart, O YaHuWaH, is seeking your face, is loving you. We are here, YaHuWaH, before you, and we want just to tell you that we love you with all our hearts. That even though that sometimes we have to go through difficulties, even though that we have to go through trials, we know that you are with us. We know that in the midst of sorrow and sadness, you are there in order to comfort our hearts and to turn that mourning into dancing, into joy, because of the promises you have given us through your word and through your servants throughout history. And here we are, YaHuWaH, this new generation of your people Israel, who are holding fast the hand of Yahushua, our Melech, our King. A generation that is seeking to listen to his voice and to his words, because you are speaking through him, in order to be set apart for you, in order to serve you in this time and in this generation. And we are here, Abba, with a desire to tell you, though we know that you know everything, we want to tell you with our voices and with all our hearts that here we are to serve you. Here we are with our heart seeking you, knowing that if we seek you, we will find you. And you will find us too. YaHuWaH, guide us in this time. Remove any fear from our hearts and our minds. And fill us with your Ruach HaKodesh, with strength, with hope, with righteousness, with love and compassion, especially with truth, so we can speak to others, and we can shine your light in the middle of darkness, that we can fulfill the purpose of your hearts for this generation of your people Israel. Guide us, YaHuWaH, throughout the study of this book of your servant Yirmiyahu, who spoke your words. And we ask you, Abba, that your words that you gave him can become our words in our hearts, so we can understand those words and also use those words in order to speak to the nations, to speak to this generation, and those words to be a light into the world. I pray in this moment, Abba, for your children who are here, and also for those who are not here and maybe are going to be able to connect with this study later. But you can be with each one of us and each one of them. You can touch the hearts. You can provide to their needs. You can heal the sick. You can provide comfort to the hearts of those in troubles. I pray for family of Shannon that you can provide shalom to their hearts. I ask you, Abba, for your protection for each one of us in these times of trouble and tribulation where we see everything that's happening in the world. That your Ruach can guide us all the time in every decision, in every action, and in every word. That we can be witnesses of your kingdom and your truth. We invite you, YaHuWaH, in this time. That your presence be among us no matter the distance. And that your Ruach can fill us with your truth and your presence and your love. Thank you, YaHuWaH Sabaoth. Thank you for listening to our voices and for being a lovely Father, a compassionate Elohim. And thank you for our Savior, Yahushua HaMashiach, who gave his life for each one of us, because through him we're able to return to you. Through him we have salvation. Through him we have expectation of a new life. And through him we are empowered to be called the children of Elohim and to be part of Israel. Thank you, Abba, for this time. We pray to you and we praise your name. And we do it in the mighty name of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach.
Amen.
Okay, let's go to chapter 1 of the book of Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu. And I will read it. You will read the chapter 2. And we can split it. Okay? So let's do it. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 1. You have it in the screen, but I will invite you to take your scriptures and read along with us. And let's see what the Ruach is bringing to this time. So it says the following. The words of Yirmiyahu, the son of Hilkiyahu, of the priests who were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of YaHuWaH came in the days of Yoshiyahu, son of Ammon, sovereign of Yehuda, in the 13th year of his reign. And it came to be in the days of Jehoiakim, son of Yoshiyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, until the end of the 11th year of Sidkiyahu, son of Yoshiyahu, sovereign of Yehuda, until the exile of Jerusalem in the 5th month. Now the word of YaHuWaH came to me, saying, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, and before you came out of the womb, I did set you apart. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. So let's keep it there, and we can comment some things, I believe. You want to start?
Okay. Well, he was of a family of priests. His father is mentioned that his father was also from the priest, and he started his ministry or his all his work when the sovereign was a good one, because Yoshiyahu, the first one, it is a good one, and he has to see all the falling apart period of Yehuda, of the house of Yehuda. So it's really important. And
actually, Yoshiyahu was the only one that following the way of YaHuWaH.
Yeah.
His children, they were totally deviating and going astray.
So I think that it's something sad to see that you are seeing a good time, that everybody's working like YaHuWaH was planning, and then you are being witness of all the falling away of the departure of the people.
Isn't the same that we are facing today? Is the
And I think that today we are in the last part, like we already left the.
it's like even not talking about the scriptures, not talking about the truth of the word, is just to take a look in society. It's a ¿cómo se dice decadencia en inglés? Decadency?
Decay.
Decay. It's a decay. Yeah, decay.
Maybe it's decay.
It's a kind of decay of a society that we have been going from bad to worst. And this is exactly, I fully agree with you, is what YaHuWaH was facing in his time. It's like, what's going on. We were in a good place. Everything was working. Everything was perfect. Everything was somehow blessed. But now we are getting worse and getting worse and getting worse by the day. And this is exactly what's happening today, and for many years back, and I think it's so relevant because we know what's the end of the story of the YaHuWaH. It's basically wrath, and we know what's the end of the story that we're facing is the day of wrath of YaHuWaH. So it's an interesting parallel. What I can bring here is something interesting. He was a priest. He was from the family priest, and actually he was from Anatoth. And Anatoth was the place where the Eviatar was sent by Shlomo when he dismissed Eviatar as a priest. You will remember when we were studying the book of Kings, Melachim, Eviatar was part of the group that were supporting Adoniyahu as the following king, as the one inheriting the kingdom from David. And Zadok was in the other side, in the other group, supporting Shlomo as the one who's going to take the throne. So, and I think we studied back then is that through Eviatar, somehow, was the fulfillment of the prophecy against the house of Eli. Because they were coming from the house of Itamar and not from the house of Elazar. So it's interesting that Eviatar, by the way, was the only one that he was able to survive from the city of Nov when Shaul sent to kill all the priests that were living in the city of Nov. That were because the priest on that time was helping David to run away from Shaul. So I think there's something interesting that even though that they were under somehow a curse from the house of Eli because of what their sons did, YaHuWaH is taking from that remnant YirmiYahu in order to bring an important word, prophetic word, and prophetic word for the end times from my point of view. Even though that there are many prophecies that we will see throughout the study of this book that they were relevant for the times that they were living, most of them are relevant for the end times, for the times we are living. Okay? So, what else? It says, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came out of the womb, I did set apart you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations. Something you want to share about this?
Well, what we were discussing, I was commenting about how important is every child who is arriving to this world, no matter the circumstances. And then we realize even all these children that are coming from a difficult moment, from a difficult experience, like what is the name in English? Cuando cuando quieren abortar a los hijos de violación. ¿Cómo es?
Abortion.
Yeah, because now we can see that there is a very big movement supporting abortion,
And especially on the difficult
especially
cases of
like,
sexual abuse.
yeah, when it has happened sexual abuse. But even those cases, you can see that somehow were allowed by YaHuWaH because that person was going to be the result. And maybe the circumstances are going to be difficult, are not going to be something easy to understand, but it's YaHuWaH who is behind that is creating a new life, that he was allowing that person to be alive. And as a society, if the society today, they are supporting, even in those cases that I know that are difficult, we are going against the will of YaHuWaH. We are going against what he is bringing to this world. So it made me think about that when I was reading that before I form you, is because he know how a person is going to be conceived, from where seed is going to be taken. So it doesn't matter how, but he's going to do it.
He knows the end from the
Yeah.
beginning, and he knows all of us. You know, it's not because of a mistake
Yeah,
that we were born,
yeah,
because it was in his heart, in his purpose to do so. You know, I it's not related to the portion, but I think it's an interesting topic, and I will share what I have been in my mind for many years. Is that I do believe that YaHuWaH somehow have been doing something throughout history to maintain a bloodline. You know, I remember in the past, Rob Skiba was speaking a lot about the seed. And the scripture is so clear about that the Elohim, I think it's in the book of Malachi in Hebrew, that he's seeking a seed of Elohim.
and here is mentioned.
Yeah.
In the second chapter.
Interesting. So I think he has been working through humanity, his creation. We belongs to him to somehow purify the bloodline. It's a crazy idea that came to my mind a long time ago, but I think somehow it's supported from the word of YaHuWaH, understanding that even our bodies, what I was reading this morning, works in the same way. The bloodstream, sometimes in our bloodstream, our blood carries impurities and toxins. And the body itself somehow, in a natural way, because that's the way that YaHuWaH created the body, begins to purify the blood. That's why we have the liver, we have the kidneys, and in different other the ways that the body works, in order to remove the impurities and remove the toxins. Could it be that maybe YaHuWaH is doing that? And what should be the way to do it? It's new babies, newborn babies. So when we analyze, as you said, situations in life, even though that some of them are so difficult, he sees everything, as we said last week, the big picture. And he's allowing things to happen. Maybe, why not? Because he's purifying his creation, he's purifying the blood, he's purifying the seed. So who we are to go against the potter, because we are just the clay. He knows what he's doing. We don't. And especially with the words that he's written over here. So what I can add to this passage is I appointed you a prophet to the nations. And this is so relevant, interesting, because it's a Navi to the Goyim, a Navi, a prophet to the Gentiles. So YaHuWaH is telling him, because he said, now the word of YaHuWaH came to me saying, Lilian, you are going to be a prophet to the Gentiles. But how come? I'm an Israelite. I should be a prophet to Israel. You are going to be a prophet to the Gentiles. So even in this point, we can understand that all the words that Yirmiyahu received, though somehow are connected to Israel, because Israel is part of the set of nations, they were directed mainly to the entire world, to the Gentiles.
Yeah.
So even this is an example, an evidence that there was no separation from YaHuWaH in the way that he was trying to reach to the Gentiles. And separation, I mean what the Christianity says that Israel is left out and so on. It was not new what happened with Cornelius in the book of Acts. YaHuWaH has been trying to reach out to the nations all the time and inviting them to follow the ways from the very beginning. Even if we understand that we come from the same one only seed, Adam. So this is interesting. The similarly to Shaul, to Paul,
I was thinking.
Yirmiyahu was assigned, appointed to go to the nations, to go to the Gentiles. So it says in the verse 6, and said I, Master YaHuWaH, see, I do not know how to speak, for I am a youth. And YaHuWaH said to me, do not say I am a youth, but go to all to whom I send you, and speak whatever I command you. Do not fear their faces, for I am with you to deliver you, declares YaHuWaH. Then YaHuWaH put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and YaHuWaH said to me, see, I have put my words in your mouth. See, I have this day set you over the nations and over the reigns, to root out and to pull down, to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant. Wow. So first, he was a youth.
Yeah.
What it means to be a youth, if we go to the Hebrew, it means he was in the adolescence.
Yeah. It could be from 17 to 20, something around that.
What we can say for certain, it was less than 20.
Yeah.
Because according to the scripture, a man becomes an adult from 20 years old onward.
Yeah.
And he is becoming accountable for himself.
Yeah.
So if he's saying I'm a youth, because he was under the coverage of his father, still under the cover of his father. So it was less from 19 onward, 19 years old down.
Yeah.
So maybe because of the expression, it could be that he was, I don't know, maybe 15 years old.
It could be 15,
16.
16, 17, 18.
Yes.
And it's interesting because it reminds me about the same dialogue that YaHuWaH had with Moshe. And Moshe, like, having this excuse, like, well, but I have problem to speak. Like, usually, maybe we're going to find always, like, a kind of impediment or something that is going to keep us like, oh, well, thank you, but I prefer that you could choose somebody else. But it was YaHuWaH who was telling him, no, I am with you. I'm going to be with you, and I'm going to put all my words in your mouth.
But you know what's interesting? I think this is the reaction from all of us.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you that maybe always we are finding maybe a kind of excuse.
Yes. But this is also reinforcing an idea is that, and this is what I have been sharing in the last few weeks, is when it comes to the word of YaHuWaH, when we are connected to, let's say, to his channel, to his frequency, he's going to be the one speaking through us. So the words we have is not our own words. We are connected to his channel, and he is going to speak through us, and we are going to be a messenger. What is a prophet? It's a messenger. It's like at the radio station, we are going to become a radio station allowing YaHuWaH to speak through us. So You know, it's like he's saying, I don't know how to speak. I don't have the words. You don't need the word. You don't need the words. I have the words. You just need to become a radio station. I'm going to speak through you. So don't worry. And that's why, you know, the message that he's saying here, and this is exactly for each one of us, especially in the times we are living, do not fear their faces. So if we become fearful, it's going to be impossible for us to be a radio station. It's going to be a noisy one that we are not going to be able to. Nobody's going to be able to hear the audio. Okay, because you know fear will introduce noise. For I am with you to deliver you. Okay, then YaHuWaH put forth his hand and touched my mouth. And we have seen the same thing with the Yeshayahu. When he saw the kavod, the glory of YaHuWaH, and the messenger came with a hot coal in the mouth. Here we see exactly the same. And I think he's also reinforcing the idea to us is that it's not us. He's basically, maybe he's tuning in with the mouth.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to clean your mouth.
And it's so beautiful is that exactly is what Yahushua was speaking to the disciples. Don't worry about what you are going to say when you're going to be in front of them, because it's the Ruach, the one who is going to reveal the words that we have to speak at the very same moment. And we have here so many beautiful testimonies on that. Even I remember Yaya was telling us a lot of testimonies on this, that they, without even knowing what to say, and he was facing, you know, a jury basically in the school, I remember. The Ruach was speaking through her. So it's a beautiful way that sometimes, even in daily activities, we are speaking something that with time we look back and said, how was I able to say that? It was not even in my mind, not in my heart. So, but where did it come from? It's the Ruach of Elohim. So if we do it with intention, if we seek YaHuWaH to speak through us in a conscious way, he's going to do it more often. And especially when we talk about his word, if we go to the Gentiles, to the nations, in order to bring his truth.
And that was really interesting about the order of how things are being done. What was his instruction? How to work in the...
Exactly. So let's continue. And the word of YaHuWaH came to me saying, what do you see, Yirmiyahu? And I said, I see a branch of an almond tree. And YaHuWaH said to me, you have seen well, for I am watching over my word to do it. And the word of YaHuWaH came to me a second time, saying, what do you see? And I said, I see a boiling pot, and it is facing away from the north. And YaHuWaH said to me, out of the north, evil is set loose on all the inhabitants of the land. For look, I am calling all the clans of the ranks of the north, declares YaHuWaH, and they shall come, and each one set his throne at the entrance of the gates of Jerusalem, against all its walls all around, and against all the cities of Yehuda. And I shall pronounce my judgments against them concerning all their evil, because they have forsaken me, burned incense to other mighty ones, and bowed themselves to the works of their own hands. We are going to complete it. Now gird up your loins and arise, and speak to them all that I command you. Do not break down before their faces, lest I break you before them. Wow. For look, I have made you this day a walled city, and an iron column, and bronze walls against all the land, against the sovereigns of Yehuda, against her heads, against her priests, and against the people of the land. And they shall fight against you, but not prevail against you. For I am with you, declares YaHuWaH, to deliver you. So go to the word. Don't worry, you are going to be in the front line. Don't fear them. I am with you. Sometimes we are so fearful Can you imagine? Let's imagine that he was 15 years old. Cristobal is 14 years old. Let's say 14 years old. And Cristobal is getting this message from YaHuWaH. Go and speak to them. Don't fear their faces. Don't worry that you are not able, you don't know how to speak. I'm going to put the words in your mouth. If I am 14 years old or 15 years old, I'm going to be totally afraid.
Yeah, especially the old people.
Even sometimes now as adults, we are so fearful to speak and to go against people. And we were talking about this, about what it means to be peacemakers a few days ago. YaHuWaH was speaking the truth, even, especially going against the leaders of the time, when they were leading people astray and they were lying. He was bold enough in order to speak without hesitation, without fear. And sometimes we are so fearful even to say something when we see wrongness. And the point is that when we see wrong and we say nothing,
we are contributing to that and we are being part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this chapter, as I saw DDK mentioning, this is exactly what we need to hear in these times. These words for Yirmiyahu are the words for us. It's how we should represent the kingdom in this time. For sure, as YaHuWaH was doing, we need to be compassionate. We need to be righteous. We need to apply right ruling. And we need to speak the truth. But when we see wrong and we see people that are not following the right path, we should not be afraid. Okay, and things are heating up. Actually, the boiling pot is going to become even more hot in the coming days. So what we're going to do about it is, this is exactly what YaHuWaH said to the disciples. What YaHuWaH said to the disciples with the Great Commission.
Go and
go to the world. Go to the nations. The same commission that YaHuWaH is giving Yirmiyahu here is the same commission and service that YaHuWaH instructed and gave to the disciples to us. So we can say that the same words that are being written here for Yirmiyahu are totally applicable to us, because we have exactly the same mission, to go to the world and to speak the truth and to speak and bring light. Sometimes bringing light is not going to be an easy job, because we are going to face persecution and we will see strong and fearful faces. But he's saying, don't fear their faces. I will deliver you. I will be with you. Why?
I was thinking about that because it says what you have highlighted there, that is taking out some things and then replacing. So you have to uproot something, some beliefs, maybe some teachings, maybe some behaviors, and then you have to replace that. But the replacement is going to be only available after you are taking the bad stuff. You cannot plant there next to or you cannot ignore that. You cannot say, okay, I'm going to bring you this, but you are okay what you are doing, but please accept also this. No, you have to do that part, that you have to show maybe, and what that was YaHuWaH was doing, that he was showing, and maybe in a very good way with parables, so people can make the reasoning in their minds what was wrong and how they can change. And so I think that is the way to do it. And something that it was completely different when I was, and it happened to me when I was, always when I'm reading this part, that it says like a boiling pot and it's facing away from the north. And then I'm always thinking about when things are like getting nervous, when we are getting angry and things like that. And I'm also thinking about from the point of view only like, okay, me, maybe myself, like the boiling pot could be maybe the thoughts that are coming. and it says, they are coming of the north, evil is set loose on all the inhabitants of the land. And then it says what is happened, that all this rain that is coming, like the thoughts, are being put, they are setting their throne at the entrance of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem for me is something that means teaching of peace. So it's something that is related with the peace, the shalom that we can feel in our hearts.
That's very
So
interesting.
I was always thinking about maybe it's also related to us, and not like two different ways to see it, like for everybody as a world, but also just for us, like how we can control that Abba is helping us, that his words are going to be the one who are going to be rejecting those thoughts that wants to control our heart and to change things here.
Yeah, actually, let me see if I can find this quickly. To this one. I think you describe it quite well in what is the meaning. Everything is related to somehow here, somehow the fire. In the book of Job, the same word for boiling is written here in the chapter 41, and I found this very relevant because it's the description of the Leviathan. And when he's talking about the Leviathan, out of his nostrils comes smoke, like a boiling pot or a kettle. So we see what's happening when we are at the boiling water. We see vapor coming. So this is a description of the dragon. But what's happening with us when we are angry? It's like sometimes we put ourselves red of anger. And what is happening here? And it's related to the thought. So I think it's a good application of what is being described here.
And I remember what YaHuWaH was telling to Cain when he was getting wroth, and he was telling him, the evil is waiting for you. You don't have to open that door. So it's like that kind of issue that is talking about us, what is happening within us.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have been talking that in the past that the word of YaHuWaH is applicable to this temple, to the temple that we are all together, the children of Israel, but also the entire world. So absolutely, I agree with you. And we know that sometimes, if we allowing this evil coming, is going to contaminate and destroy everything. So it says in the 11, when he was asking the first question and showing him something, he saw a branch of an almond tree. And this is all relevant because when we go to the Hebrew, this is a play of words between this verse 11 and the verse 12, because the word for almond and the word for watching are the same. Actually, the word watching is the root word for almond.
It's interesting because in Spanish, at least there is a place that is on the castle that it's being called Almenar. And I was looking the other day because it called my attention because I didn't understand that word. And it says that it's a place where the soldiers are just, it's like a little window and they're just watching there.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's like Almenar is coming from almendra for the same word.
So the word in Hebrew for almond tree is shaket. And this is coming from the root word H8245. That is exactly what is written in the next one. Hasten. And it's shakat. So let me go to the version here again. So what I see is a branch of an almond tree. And he is repeating, and YaHuWaH said to me, you have seen well, for I am watching almost an almond again over my word to do it. And I see this as a beautiful picture because first, when we see stories in the scriptures about the almond,
with Aaron,
the rod of Aaron,
the priesthood.
and because they were the rebels and they want to take over the priesthood and remove Aaron and Moshe in the rebellion of Korach. And the whole thing of the rod of Aaron is a foreshadow of Mashiach, because out of a dead tree, life came again with flowers, with the almonds and so on. So it flourished again. And what was the instruction of YaHuWaH? To take this one and put it in the Ark of the Covenant as a testimony. And everything that is in the Ark of the Covenant somehow is pointing out to Mashiach. So, and then we know that Mashiach is the word of YaHuWaH. And he's reinforcing this. I saw an almond tree connected to the story that we're talking. And then he's reinforcing because I'm watching over my word to do it. Again, connection to Mashiach. And the second one, and I see it beautiful as a beautiful picture as well, is the menorah. The menorah, it was in the shape of almond
flowers, yeah.
Almond flowers. And the menorah was a lamp. When you want to watch, you need light.
Yeah.
So almond in this case is connected to the word, is connected to be alert, to be watching. What Yahushua was saying related to the end times in all the parables, that we need to watch at all time.
Yeah.
We don't know when the master of the house is coming. We need to be watching.
Yeah.
And if we connect with what the mission of Yirmiyahu is to go and speak the word of YaHuWaH, what's the word of YaHuWaH to the nations, is what's going to happen at the end times. It's an alert, it's a warning. Be watching over my word. Okay? And then what you were saying is about the boiling pot. And this is something that we need to understand, that at the time that Yirmiyahu received the words, we said that it was at the time of from Yoshiyahu to the next kings. The house of Israel back then was already gone.
Yeah, it was
only the house of Yehuda. So when we talk about out of the north evil is set loose on all the inhabitants of the land, it cannot be Ashur or Assyria coming to destroy the house of Israel, or even to go against the house of Yehuda, because that already happened during the time of Hizkiyahu, and Jeremiah wasn't there. So for me, this is a confirmation that what Yirmiyahu is saying here is speaking about a future event. The house of Israel gone, only the house of Yehuda. Assyria was already gone. Babylon could be the one, but Babylon, I don't see it to the north when we see the map. It was to the east. So I think this is speaking, when we connect with other passages of the scripture, speaking of what's going to happen at the end. And if we see the rest of the description in the verse 15, is going to, and they shall come and each one set his throne at the entrance of the gates of Jerusalem, against all its walls all around, and against all the cities of Yehuda. What is written about the end times? When we see Jerusalem surrounded by the armies, we know that the time of the last ways of the abomination of desolation is coming. This is what Yahushua said about the end times. We see, and we will talk about last week about this, the working Har Megido. All the nations coming to fight against the one that is coming on the cloud. Where? In the land of Israel. We see after the 1,000 years kingdom of Yahushua here on earth, Shatan going and to take the rulers or the kings of the world and to convince them to go against Jerusalem and to surround the city of the Kadoshim, the set apart ones. So I do believe that these words somehow are connected to those prophecies, and that's why I think it's so relevant what we are talking about here, about the words of that Yirmiyahu received, that are words for us about what's happening. You know, most probably all of you have been seeing the news, and I'm not saying that this is going to be fulfilled now, but it's interesting that at the north of the land of Israel, we see countries that somehow are becoming even more angry against the state of Israel. And again, you know what I mean, what I believe about the state of Israel. But we also believe that this is the land, and also we believe that true people are also living there, from the house of YaHuWaH, I mean. And there is the probability of a big scale war to happen in our times, and it's
really
coming
high.
from the north.
And it's really high.
And it's coming from the north. So I think that's why this is so relevant to what we are discussing about the prophecies of YaHuWaH. And I shall pronounce my judgment against them concerning all their evil. YaHuWaH will bring judgment with the sword coming out of his mouth. You know, at the end, when Satan is coming to destroy Jerusalem after the 1,000 years kingdom, he will destroy all of them. Okay? So, and I think this is just a hope for all of us, not to be afraid. And this, I think, is a commandment, as Camila was saying in the chat earlier, you know, is like I was saying to Yirmiyahu, grow up. You're not a child anymore, grow up. In this case, it's also telling him, grow up, and it's telling us, okay, stand up, go out, prepare yourself, arise, begin speaking. Everything that I have commanded, I'm going to command you. Do not break down before their faces, lest I break you before them. And this is also a warning. I'm telling you that you need to go. Because if we don't go, something is going to happen to us. The least of the thing that happened to us is that he's not going to send us anymore in a mission to serve him. But worse things can happen. It's like a master having two servants, and YaHuWaH was speaking a lot about this. Can you imagine one servant is saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. He doesn't. And the other one goes. What's going to happen next time? The master going to go to this one, and maybe we don't know he's going to do with the other one that is disobedient. Or what happened if this other one is so bold and said, no, I'm not going to do it? What's going to happen? The master again is going to work with this one that is obedient in order to send him to new missions. And we don't know what's going to happen with the other one, maybe to prison or whatever it is. So I think it's important that these words should be in our hearts too, that is the time to gird up our loins in order to basically be prepared to run and to go to war. And that's the meaning to arise as well and speak. We don't need to fight physically. We need to speak with the sword coming of the mouth. The word of YaHuWaH being manifested through our lips. Okay, let's move on to chapter 2. Go ahead.
And the word of YaHuWaH came to me, saying, Go, and you shall cry in the hearing of Jerusalem, saying, Thus said YaHuWaH, I remember you, the loving commitment of your youth, the love of your bridehood, when you went after me in the wilderness, in the land that was not sown. Israel was set apart to YaHuWaH, the first fruits of his increase. All who ate of it became guilty. Evil came upon them, declares YaHuWaH. Hear the words of YaHuWaH, O house of Yaakov, and all the clans of the house of Israel. Thus said YaHuWaH, What unrighteousness have your fathers found in me, that they have gone far from me, and went after worthlessness and became worthless?
Interesting. So all the message is in the hearing of Jerusalem. And I think was having similar conversations this week, not related to the word, but for daily life. And it's the same thing, you know. What was the was the way that YaHuWaH is treating his people is first to make them remember. I remember you. The loving commitment of your youth. So it's like drive us to the past so we can put the pictures in our mind and to remember how it was, how we feel back then. Is to revive all of that once again. And it is interesting, and we have been talking about this as well. What happened when we bring some remembrance from the past?
It's like living them again.
Yes, and what is triggering?
Emotions.
And somehow this is what is moving us. It could be a bad one that is going to make us cry if it is still there, or it's going to be we're going to laugh and we are going to feel love because it's something that was so beautiful that we live, that we are going to revive it once again. And this is exactly what YaHuWaH is doing, is to bring the pictures to our mind in order to trigger those emotions within us once again. The love of your bridehood, when you went after me in the wilderness in a land that was not sown. And for me, this is also a confirmation about the relationship between Jerusalem as a bride and YaHuWaH. And we see it even at the end of the book, when we see the new Jerusalem as the bride prepared in the end times. So, what else? What unrighteousness have your fathers found in me, that they have gone far from me and went after worthlessness and became worthless? So first, remember how you were in the past. Now, why you are behaving like this?
Yeah, imagine Isaba saying, what it was my action that was causing this.
Yes.
I did nothing wrong, and you are doing this. This is the result.
Yeah. Let's continue.
And did not they say, where is YaHuWaH who brought us up out of the land of Mizraim, who led us through the wilderness, through a land of desert and pits, through a land of drought and the shadow of death, a land that no one passed through and where no one dwelt? Then I brought you into a garden land to eat its fruits and its goodness. But when you enter, you defile my land and made my inheritance an abomination.
Wow.
So there is the summary. YaHuWaH was even asking to remember how was the first part, that it was very difficult, that nothing was there. It was a complete desert, but he was with them. And when they finally arrived to this place that it was perfect, it was good for them, it was contaminated by them.
And all the time they were asking, and even it's sad to see that YaHuWaH remembered. He always remembered. They were asking, what is YaHuWaH? Even when you are going to read the verse 8, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
What is YaHuWaH? And he was with them all the time.
Yeah.
It happened to us as well. What is YaHuWaH? It happened to me. Especially lately, with a lot of frequency. What is YaHuWaH?
And maybe YaHuWaH is asking, where were you?
Yes. and you know, he's an amazing storyteller, because what he's doing is to retelling the story.
Yeah.
So they were saying this, they didn't know where I was. They were asking, what is YaHuWaH? And I was with them all the time.
From the beginning until they were safe.
Even when you were in this place and you were asking where I am, I brought you to this place and you misbehaved. And you did all of this.
And your abomination were the one who was contaminating everything.
Yeah.
And the priest did not say, where is YaHuWaH? And those who handled the Torah did not know me. And the shepherd transgressed against me, and the prophets prophesied by Baal and walked after matters that did not profit. Therefore, I still contend with you, declares YaHuWaH, and with your children's children I contend. For pass beyond the isles of Kirim and see, and send to Kedar and observe well, and see if there has been any like this. Kitim means bruising, so when you have morados. And Kedar means dark. So imagine that you are beyond that dark places, beyond the suffering or the bruises that you have. And it is asking you, and see if there has been any like this. Has a nation changed its mighty ones, which are not mighty ones? But my people have changed my esteem for that which does not profit. And I couldn't avoid to connect this and see, for instance, about these cultures from India, for instance, that they have a lot of idols. But even though they have idols that we know that they are nothing, they still are worshiping the same things from the beginning until today. And Israel, and we as part of Israel, we tend to forget YaHuWaH, and we tend to change him by something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So our loyalty is not even compared to the loyalty that other nations had with things that they are nothing. But they are more committed to those nothing idols that may be the commitment.
So even the priests were asking, what is YaHuWaH? And the priests were the one in charge in order to lead the service of YaHuWaH, the one in charge to instruct the people in the Torah. And they didn't know what is YaHuWaH. Those who handled the Torah did not know me. And what YaHuWaH is asking to know him. And we have been talking about this in the past, is that what it means is just to have a relationship with him, an intimate relationship with him. The shepherds transgressed against me. Prophets, false prophets. So, and you know, it's the decay of society again. Is what we talked at the beginning, and we see this happening as well again. But as always, he's always separating and saving a remnant. In this case, I see Yirmiyahu as part of the remnant that was chosen by him in order to bring the words. If we are being part of the chosen people, part of the remnant of this generation, it's even more important for us to understand that that should be our role. YaHuWaH is sending us in order to bring the light. We are not going to contend, though sometimes we need to do it, but we need to bring the words with love. We need to bring the words of truth. That's the only way people is going to wake up, is by bringing the truth of the word of YaHuWaH, for those that are being totally going astray. Therefore, I still contend with you. Even YaHuWaH is doing it. And he's reinforcing the relationship with the Jerusalem, and somehow reinforcing that Jerusalem is the one having children, is the mother. This is something we have been talking. Kittim sometimes has been connected with the Romans. When we look into the book of the Maccabees, the Kittim are the Romans in that time. Okay, what else?
Okay. Be amazed, O heavens, at this, and be frightened. Be utterly dried up, declares YaHuWaH. For my people have done two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, to hew out for themselves cisterns, cracked cisterns, which do not hold water. Wow. He is the living water, and you compare this, the living water is coming from below the earth. And it's so clean because it's already passing the natural cleaning layers. So the water usually coming from a spring is pure water. And he's saying that we are making by ourselves cistern. like maybe rock places, or I don't know, any kind of deposit to put water. And when we know what is happening, that the water is, if you are going to keep it like that, is going to change. It's going to be spoiled. It's not going to be good for drinking. But sometimes we prefer that instead of going to the living waters. So he's saying that. Is Israel a servant? Was he born in the house? Why is he given to plunder?
Yeah, let me go back to the previous one. Sorry.
The water.
It's a spring. Is that what you were explaining? Is the difference between a spring or water, a natural one, and to holding water that you have brought from the spring. So, and you are relying in that in what you build to hold that water, instead of going all the time to the living water, to the spring, to the natural spring, to have the water to drink. We know that the living waters are the Ruach of Elohim. Mashiach told the Samaritan woman that you are not gonna thirst anymore. Out of the inner being, out of the belly, a fountain of living water will burst. So it's exactly the same thing. I do believe that he's speaking about if we forsake YaHuWaH, we are not going to have this spring of living waters in our belly. It's going to be even difficult for us, and now is the sign that we need the Ruach the most. To have the Ruach dwelling in us completely. Because, we have been entertaining ourselves to build places or the objects in order to hold the water. But we don't have the water.
At one moment it's going to run out. Yeah.
And even maybe we don't have the water. If the living water is not there, where we are going to get the water to put it over there? And it's totally broken. So I think it is a direct connection with the Ruach of Elohim. So, and it's an evil. For my people have done two evils. They have forsaken me. I am the one given the Ruach. And because they have forsaken me by doing all this stuff, we can imply that, they are not having the living waters now anymore because of the evil. What are the evils? Everything that was describing before. You have forsaken me. You don't know where I am. You are all the time asking, where is YaHuWaH? You have forsaken my Torah. You are false teachers, false prophets, and so on. You have committed sin all the time, here, there, and so on. So everything related to forsaking YaHuWaH and transgress His word is the first evil. Go ahead.
The young lions roared at him, they growled, and made his land waste. His cities have been burned without inhabitants. Even the son of Nof and of Tachpanhes have shaven the crown of your head. And Nof, if I'm not mistaken, means presentable, and Tachpanhes, hence filled with pity. So I think that what he's wanted to say, I'm not so sure, that maybe some people who are showing themselves like compassionate, like good people, it said they're going to shave this part of your head. And we know that doing that is against the instruction of YaHuWaH, to shave the head. So have you not done this to yourself by forsaking YaHuWaH your Elohim when He led you in the way? And now why take the way of Mizraim to drink the waters of Shihor? Or why take the way of Ashur to drink the waters of the river? Your own evil instructs you, and your backslidings reprove you. Know therefore and see that it is evil and bitter that you have forsaken YaHuWaH your Elohim, and that my fear is not in you, declares the Master YaHuWaH of hosts, YaHuWaH Sebaot.
Wow. So it's the two ways. The way of life, the way of death. The way of blessing, the way of curses. Is the narrow path or the wide and broad one. It's always the same thing. And he is retelling the story. He is giving a warning to the people. And let's think on what we said in the chapter 1. And this is in the context of the end times. We know that this is applicable to all generations. It was applicable back then because, as we said at the beginning, Yirmiyahu lived in a time when they were going completely astray from this foreshadow of Mashiach, referring to the king Yoshiyahu, that he was one of the best kings that the house of Yehuda had, to his descendants that they were totally going astray. For sure, this is applicable to that generation. They were doing all this evil. But if the whole context of the book somehow is connected to the end times and it's a word, a prophecy to the nations, it's speaking to us, to this generation. You know, the young lions roared at him. They growled to whom? To Israel. They growled and made his land waste. And when he's talking about Israel, I do believe he's talking about the 12 tribes as a whole. And let's keep in mind, the house of the north with the 10 tribes were already gone. So today, the 10 tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, all the young lions roared at us. We were talking the other day that we are in slavery. And sometimes when we are in slavery, we are unable to do everything that we would like in order to follow the words of YaHuWaH. It happened exactly the same to Israel in Egypt. It's happening to us now. And this is exactly what's happening when we are in slavery. You know, the young lions, referring to kingdoms, to kings, those one in authority, roared at Israel. Persecution, tribulation. And because of what? Because we have done this to ourselves.
Yeah, we have forsaken.
By forsaking YaHuWaH, who has been always leading us on the way. So how come we are going to be able to even think on asking, where is YaHuWaH? Because every time that we ask that, we are not recognizing that he is with us and he is in control of everything. That he is the source of everything. If we are even alive and we have food in our tables, it's because he's allowing this to happen. So we need to remember YaHuWaH. What's the opposite of forsaking? Is remembering. And this is exactly what YaHuWaH is doing, as we were said at the beginning. He's retelling the story. Why he's retelling the story and using specific words in order to trigger our eyes, our spiritual eyes, to see the past and to trigger the emotions, is to remember. He's using exactly the same thing, is to remember. And by triggering that is to remember YaHuWaH, to remember him. So the opposite of forsaking is to remember. We should not wait for him to do it. As he's describing here, we should use exactly the same way to remember him. If we're going through a situation or through a phase in our lives that we feel ourselves dry, we feel ourselves that we're in the wilderness, as we were reading a few verses up. If we're going through a phase that we are asking ourselves, where is YaHuWaH? Let's not wait for him to start retelling us the story. Let's use exactly the same thing that he is doing, and let's close our eyes and let's remember the times that we felt YaHuWaH so close to us. And let's bring those memories and that vision, even looking ourselves in that situation. and that will trigger something within us. And what's the most important thing that will trigger? It will trigger our memory. You remember we have been discussing memory connected to
smell.
And we were talking about the boiling pot, vapors, snows. Is to bring, to memory, is the incense through our prayers. Is to remember YaHuWaH. What's going to trigger when we do that? Is that we are going to be able to remember, to revive those moments in order not to do to ourselves something that is wrong. Is to remember all those times when we were feeling YaHuWaH so close that we knew that He was with us. That will help us in those times of troubles to remember that He is with us today. To drink water from Shihor, looking for different waters than drinking the waters of YaHuWaH. Know therefore and see that it is evil and bitter that you have forsaken YaHuWaH your Elohim, that my fear is not in you. Wow.
For of all I have broken your yoke and torn off your chastisements, and you said, I am not serving you, when on every high hill and under every green tree you lay down a whore. Yet I had planted you a choice vine, all of it a true seed. This is the true seed, the pure one. How then have you turned before me into a degenerate plant of a strange vine? So it's in front of His eyes that we are changing. And He cannot understand how. If He planted something, but our fruit are showing something different.
Yeah.
How do you say, I am not defiled? No, sorry. Although you wash yourself with lye and use much soap, yet your crookedness is ingrained before me, declares the Master YaHuWaH.
As we said before, these words are so applicable in so many different levels. In a personal level, as a people, it's applicable to Jerusalem, because in some way, speaking about Jerusalem, a whore, speaking about Israel, is speaking about the world. For of all I have broken your yoke and torn off your chastisement. So He broke, if we go to the personal level, a yoke, and we have been talking about this, is something that is keeping us tied to another. And if that another is leading us, and the another could be a person, could be a situation, could be many things, leading us astray from the truth, the true way, He took that out. He broke it.
Yeah.
And
He
we
made
can,
us free again.
And using the same exercise that they bring to memory, I think all of us, we can remember what it was, what was the point in our times, in the times of our lives, that He did that for each one of us. How come we are going to say, as it is written there, I'm not serving you? It's the same example that I was bringing about the two servants. If we say that, bad things will happen. And the worst thing that will happen is that He is not going to use us anymore. Now, the reference with the choice vine, I think this is a beautiful connection to the trees. And we discussed when we were talking about, when we were studying the book of YaHuWaH, that the vine somehow is connected to the vineyard is connected to the house of Israel. And the fig tree is connected to the house of Yehuda. But in this case, I think He's making it for the entire house. What does it mean? I don't really know. But when we see it from the words of Mashiach, saying, I am the true vine, is so beautiful, because as you were reading in the previous or highlighting in the previous chapter, there is a sequence of events, what's going to happen, but what's the last one?
To plant.
So And what's that plant?
Mm.
Is the true vine.
Mm.
So even though that the plant at the beginning became a defiled or degenerate plant, we now know that there is a new plant, the true vine, and we are the branches. So it's reinforcing the idea you became degenerate, a strange vine, but now I have set a true seed, a new one, and this is not going to become degenerate. You need to be the branches of that vine, and somehow it's connected to the olive tree, but this is for other time. Okay. Although you wash yourself with lye and use much soap, yet your crookedness is ingrained before me. But we were reading in the book of YaHuWaH that he's going to provide a way to remove the sin, and we know that the way is Mashiach.
How do you say I am not defiled? I have not gone after the Baals. See your way in the valley. Know what you have done. A swift dromedary breaking loose in her ways. A wild donkey used to the wilderness. Sniffing the wind in the desire of her beings, in her time of mating. Who turns her away? All those who seek her need not worry themselves. In her month they find her.
I think it's so clear what he's talking about. It's about the sexual immorality. He's talking about whore. That's why he's treating at the beginning as a whore. And then we will in the next portions. I think I will bring in more details this topic. But it's somehow describing Jerusalem as the mother, and what happened in Jerusalem and through Jerusalem. And somehow all the children and the two houses were connected to everything that is being described here. Whoring, we know, is also spiritual one.
Yeah.
And that's why it's connected to the idols. It's choosing somebody else instead of the true Elohim.
Keep your foot from being bare and your throat from thirst. But you said, it is useless because I love strangers and after them I go. It's like we are taking care about everything, but not taking care of the main thing, that we are splitting ways from the path of YaHuWaH.
But you know, this is interesting. Keep your foot from being bare.
We always are having shoes on our foot.
And your throat from thirst. So it's the lacking of something. It's the lacking of shoes.
Because we're protecting the foot, what is allowing us to move, to go in certain direction. And I think that it's also having water, because it's something that we cannot live without water. So we are worried about basic things, but we said, okay, we are taking care about this, but about our loyalty, we cannot do anything, because we really love strangers. So it's like when we justify, and it's happening when people say it, and no, so that's the way men was being done, and women, that they're always going to be unfaithful people. No, why? It's not a condition. It's something that you choose how to behave.
You know, it's interesting that again, your throat from thirst. We are not going to have, if we commit all of this, we're not going to have the living waters. So if we don't have the living waters, we're going to become thirsty. Not having the ruach, not having the living waters from the inner being, but also the food. And there are a few places here, the food are connected to the good news. How pleasant are the feet of those who bring the good news of peace.
Yeah.
When we're talking about the armor of Elohim, and having fitted your feet with the preparation of the good news of peace. So keep your foot from being bare is not being prepared with the truth of the good news of the kingdom, maybe. And what was the whole message that we have been reading so far? Yirmiyahu being sent with the word of YaHuWaH, with the truth against the people that had been forsaking YaHuWaH and forsaking the truth and forsaking the Torah, not having the good news of the kingdom, not having the truth of the kingdom. So keep your foot from being bare. You need to have the shoes that you are prepared, being fitted, your feet, with the preparation of the good news. Okay?
Okay. As the thief is ashamed when he's found out, so is the house of Israel ashamed. They and their sovereigns, and their heads, and their priests, and their prophets. Saying to a tree, "You are my father," and to a stone, "You gave birth to me." For they have turned their back to me, and not their face, but in the time of their calamity they said, "Arise and save us." I was looking that because about saying, "You are my father," to a tree and to a stone, "You give birth to me." And and I couldn't remember, and I was asking myself why he should say that. And there is a lot of people believing about this reincarnation movement, that they are going to become something else. And there is a specific kind of belief that is coming from the Turkey area and those places, that they believe that the trees are having the spirit of their ancestors.
Well,
And the stones and natural things. And then you can understand why there are a lot of cultures that they are giving thanks to the earth, that they are giving a hug to a tree, because they are confusing. They are changing and giving the esteem to the creation itself and not to the creator. So then I could understand that. And I don't know if you want to continue. Because
no.
no?
Okay, let me continue.
Okay.
So, but where are your mighty ones that you have made for yourselves? Let them arise, see if they save you in the time of your calamity. Because of your mighty ones have become as many as your cities of Yehuda. And we have said, sometimes an idol can be anything.
Yeah.
You are my father to a stone. A stone became an idol. A tree became an idol. Anything in our lives can become an idol that is going to lead us to forsake YaHuWaH.
Yeah.
So we need to be so attentive, and this is so clear what he's saying here. Why do you complain to me? You all have transgressed against me, declares YaHuWaH. And again, let me go back to this one. If we forsake YaHuWaH, and we don't have this intimate relationship with him, and this is somehow what we were discussing the other day when we were walking. At the time of calamity that is written here, how come we are going to go to there and ask him, save us?
Help me.
If we have not established a relationship with him. He needs to be with us all the time. We need to be with him all the time. And that's why and that's how he's going to save us in the time of tribulation. If not, we are going to rely on the things that we have take to replace the place of YaHuWaH. And those things are not going to save us. It could be anything. That's why the relationship with YaHuWaH is so important, that we need to walk with him, and we need to allow him to walk with us in a daily basis. Especially, the times of calamity, I think we are living through them. In vain have I stricken your children. They receive no instruction. Your sword has devoured your prophets like a destroying lion. O generation, see the word of YaHuWaH. Have I been a wilderness to Israel, or a land of darkness? Why do my people say, we have broken loose, we come to you no more? Would a maiden forget her ornaments, or a bride her headband? Yet my people had forgotten me, days without number. And here he's saying it all. YaHuWaH needs to be our headband. In a bride is an important piece, the ornament of a maiden, the jewels, for example. That should be the place of YaHuWaH. That's the way that, you know, if you go out and you want to put some, ¿cómo se llama el lugar?
Earrings.
It's important for you. You want to wear the earrings or anything else. That should be also with YaHuWaH. I'm going to go out, YaHuWaH.
I want to be embellished by him.
Please come with me. Guide my steps. I know you are with me. Those are the kind of things. You know, we are not in darkness when we are with him. He is the light. We are not in the wilderness because he's providing food and he's providing the living waters. So sometimes if we're going through the desert, we need to ask ourselves, maybe it's something that I'm not doing right. Maybe I'm getting far away from YaHuWaH.
I'm getting distracted by the daily things.
Exactly. This is something that we need to ask ourselves all the time. If we are doing something wrong, we need to analyze our own lives. And if we discover that we are doing something wrong, that maybe it's putting us and setting us on the wilderness, being thirsty, and we discover that we have done this to us, is the time to correct ourselves. And we need to do it in a daily basis. Is to return, is to do teshuvah, is to return to YaHuWaH in a daily basis. Because, you know, we are living, again, in slavery. We are sometimes with so much burden upon us that we are focused and our attention is moving from YaHuWaH to the daily things and the daily things of the world. And sometimes it's impossible to avoid it. But if we trigger internally in a daily basis to analyze our spiritual life, am I forsaking YaHuWaH or not? What's the root cause of what's happening to me? Maybe I did something wrong and I'm departing from this close, intimate relationship with YaHuWaH. Is the time to return to him. And he's going to receive us with the open arm if we truly come to him with a true heart to seek him.
Can I return to the verse 30?
Yeah.
Because it says, in vain have I stricken your children. They receive no instruction. Your sword has devoured your prophets like a destroying lion. I was thinking about that. And sometimes maybe we are complaining about this generation that they are so difficult that maybe they're not so teachable. But what it's saying here, YaHuWaH is saying that your sword has devoured your prophet. What you are speaking, what you are, and also maybe not also speaking, what you are doing. And we are like annulling or canceling, I don't know how to say, with our mouth, we are not supporting the prophets. With our action, we are not supporting all that is here in this book. So we should be very attentive because that is what is happening. All the generation that is coming is because our generation was not giving them the right model. It was not our mouth who was testifying. And we were talking about that we need more testimonies, more witnesses about how YaHuWaH is doing in our life so that they can believe. if they are not going, they're going to think that this is all fantasy. This is okay. These are thoughts about people who need to believe in something.
We need
But
to speak up. We need to tell the stories. We need to tell our testimonies.
Yeah, yeah.
We shut our mouth. We are
Yeah.
not allowing the new generations to hear about what happened, what YaHuWaH
That
did
is
for us.
real. That is real.
Yes. But in order to have something to tell,
We need to live it.
we need to live it through our experience, and how we are going to live and how we are going to experience the living Elohim is by having an intimate and close relationship with Him all the time.
Yeah.
Why do you embellish your way to seek love? Therefore, you have even taught the evil women your ways. Even on your skirts is found the blood of the lives of the poor innocents. You did not find them breaking in, but in spite of all this, you say, because I am innocent, certainly His displeasure shall turn from me. See, I shall bring judgment on you because you say, I have not sinned. Let me bring some passage here because for me, there's no doubt that he's speaking to Jerusalem. He's speaking about his bride that became a whore. In all the verses we have been talking, and actually even in your skirts is found the blood of the lives of the poor innocents. You did not find them breaking in, but in spite of all this, you say, because I am innocent. Let me bring one passage here. Matthew chapter 23. Because of this I send you prophets and wise men and scholars of scripture. Some of them you shall kill and impale, and some of them you shall flog in your congregations and persecute from city to city, so that on you should come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of the righteous Hebel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, whom you murdered between the dwelling place and the slaughter place. What is that? Jerusalem. Truly I say to you, all this shall come upon this generation. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, killing the prophets and stoning those who are sent to her. How often I wish to gather your children together the way a hen gathers her chickens under her wings, but you would not.
And we know that killing is not only physically killing, it's with our attitude, with our actions, with our words.
And I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the set apart ones and with the blood of the witnesses of YaHuWaH. Having seen her, I greatly marveled. So we will expand this, I think, in the coming passages. But I see a direct connection that he's speaking to his bride, and his bride somehow connected to her children, the two houses, Israel, and how everything became degenerate, everything became contaminated. And this is so important because if we live according to those things, it means that we are living according to the spirit of whoring and the spirit of the old Jerusalem, instead of living according to the spirit of the new bride, the new Jerusalem, that is basically seeking to live a set apart life, seeking to follow the step of YaHuWaH, who is showing us the true way.
Yeah, so we can be Echad with our Abba.
Absolutely. So it finished saying, because I am innocent, certainly his displeasure shall turn from me. See, I shall bring judgment on you, because you say I have not sinned. We will see a similar words coming in later chapters of the same book. You know, I see it as a queen.
I have done nothing.
I have done nothing. And this is so connected to Mystery Babylon, the whore Babylon. Why do you go about so much to change your way? Even of Misraim you are to be ashamed, as you were ashamed of Ashur. Even from this one you shall go forward, with your hands on your head, for YaHuWaH has rejected those you trust, and you should not prosper by them. So we should trust only
in
in YaHuWaH. If we trust, as we said a minute ago, in anything else, in anybody else, we will fail.
Yeah.
We have to trust in YaHuWaH, and He will guide us, with people and with situations around us that will help us to
stay on the way.
stay on the way and to be blessed and to prosper on the way.
And to have those more intimate moments, or maybe to cost to have those intimate moments with Him, because He's going to take care of having this fire inside us all the time burning. So He's doing that, and we have to be very careful when we feel that maybe it's, I don't know, getting with a lower intensity. Then we have to ask Him, please help me to have again this flame inside of me that is coming from You.
I was said at the beginning, I think all these words and the way that this book is starting is so important that we need to take this as a warning. I think chapter 1 is a commission. Go into the world and bring the good news to the nations, to the Gentiles. Is the commission given to Yirmiyahu, is the same commission given by YaHuWaH to us. The second one is a sound of warning. Is YaHuWaH teaching us the way that we should remember Him. Is warning us not to forsake Him, but also showing us the way that we are going to be able to remember Him by bringing to memory everything He has done for us. And we can bring to memory, the scriptures. For sure, we need to bring the memory to scriptures. But what He was doing is to bring to memory the experiences. What we need to do is, as you said, we need to bring to memory our own experiences with Him. Those moments that we have been praying and we have been feeling something so powerful that has been Him touching us, that we are crying not because of sadness, because of joy, because of His presence. Is to remember, miracles He has been doing in our lives. For sure, we need to remember the stories of the word of YaHuWaH, the previous generations, but the most powerful way to remember YaHuWaH is to remember through our own experiences. As I said at the beginning, that will trigger the right fruit of the Spirit, the emotion that is connected to the fruit of the Spirit that will, it's going to remove from us any cloth of darkness. It's going to remove from us any focus we have in anything else, and it will put us back on track, because in that way we are going to be able to remember Him. So the second chapter is warning and also instruction, what to do, to remember what the generations from the past did wrong, so not to follow under the same spirit of whoring. Is, as I said a minute ago, is to follow the spirit of salvation, the spirit of prophecy, that is Yahushua HaMashiach, and understanding that the spirit of purity and cleanness of the New Jerusalem, the bride of YaHuWaH. So I told you that this morning I was praying and I opened the scripture, and it was beautiful because somehow it was connected to what I was praying, and I think it's going to be a good way to finish the portion today. And I open my scriptures in the book of Divrei Yamin. This is 2 Chronicles, chapter 15. And I think there is no coincidence at all. And we just read this portion last week. I didn't have the time to read it again. We did it just here. And I think this is so connected to everything that YaHuWaH has put in our hearts and what we have been reading. So let me share it with you. Open your scriptures if you have it in your hand. Go to 2 Chronicles chapter 15. And I'm going to put it here in the screen as well. And it says the following. And the Ruach of Elohim came upon Azariyahu, son of Oded, and he went out to face Asa, and said to him, Hear me, Asa, and all Yehuda and Benjamin. YaHuWaH is with you while you are with him. And if you seek him, he is found by you. But if you forsake him, he forsakes you. Let me read it again. Hear me, Asa, and all Yehuda and Benjamin. YaHuWaH is with you while you are with him. Oof. And if you seek him, he is found by you. But if you forsake him, he forsakes you. And for many days Israel had been without the true Elohim, and without a Torah priest, and without Torah. But in their distress they turned to YaHuWaH Elohim of Israel, and they sought him, and he was found by them. And in those days there was no peace to the one who went out, nor to the one who came in, for great disturbances were on all the inhabitants of the land, and they were beaten down nation by nation, and city by city, for Elohim troubled them with every distress. But you, be strong, and do not let your hands be feeble, for there is a reward for your work. That's the heart of YaHuWaH. We were reading in the book of Yirmiyahu in the chapter 2 is when we go wrong, or when YaHuWaH is not close to us, we have done it to ourselves. Here we see exactly the same pattern. It's up to us to find Elohim. It's up to us to have the right attitude, even in the midst of distress, to turn to YaHuWaH and to seek him with all our hearts. Because YaHuWaH is with us while we are with him. If we put YaHuWaH as the top priority of our lives, he will be with us. We are going to be able to find him, and he is going to find us. It's going to be an intimate relationship. There's nothing to fear because he is with us. We have found him, and he has found us.
Beautiful.
And it is connected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's connected. And I don't know why it's so different when we talk about how YaHuWaH is doing in our lives, or we give the witness of his work in the first person. Maybe we can tell about all the stories of the past, what we have read in the prophets, and from the beginning of the creation, and we can relate that and retell that story to somebody else. But something very personal and something more powerful happened when we are the one who are telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
And the person is going to receive that story in a different way. It's not the same being a witness in first person that being a witness in third person.
Because
So,
we are making,
yeah,
we are vibrating the
yeah.
string of our hearts,
Yeah.
that is going to vibrate the string of the
Oh,
heart
yeah,
of the
yeah,
other
yeah,
people.
person. Yeah. So I wanted to share that.
Good. So I think it was a good starting of the book of Jeremiah.
Yeah, kind of emotional.
Yes, and I think it's exactly what we need in these times. Not to be afraid of the faces of the people, is to go on and to serve our master, to hear his voice and to do what we have to do. Not to feel ourselves unprepared as YaHuWaH. To the contrary, it's not us, it's him. He's using us as a vessel in order to bring his word and his truth. And I think the most important thing is to remember him all the time, to remember through our own experience, to share with others our own experience so people can learn and know YaHuWaH in the same way we have been able and been blessed to know him. Amen? Oof, okay. Having said that, we'll prepare the coming portions.
Yeah.
We will see, we will let you know what are the names and the chapters of the coming portions. But we will rely on him to guide us in the process.
Yeah.
And to see what else he's bringing to our lives through the study of this book of YaHuWaH, to prepare us, to fulfill the mission, to be a true servant, to serve him with all heart, and with all the intensity of our heart, with the right attitude and with all the focus. So thank you so much for being with us, for your patience, for your love. And let's keep praying for one another. So we are under the shadow of protection of our Elohim, our Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
Okay? So we will put a song we have prepared for you. But once again, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
YaHuWaH be with you all. And we hope to see each other
About willing next Shabbat.
next Shabbat. So keep enjoying your Shabbat.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
ונצר יפרה משורשיו, נחה עליו הרוח, רוח חוכמה ובינה. הוא ימלוך לעולם ועד, הוא ימלוך לעולם ועד, הוא ימלוך לעולם ועד, הוא ימלוך לעולם ועד. הליכו ביראת אדוני, למלא עיניו לא ישפוט, ושפט בצדק דלים, והוכיח במישור לענבים. והוא עשה נדחי ישראל, את נפוצות יהודה יקבץ. והיה לנס עמים, עומד לנס עמים, והייתה מנוחה